time. Amazing. So thank you guys who have jumped into the webinar here for our 5th ever knowledge drop with special guest Jessica from Batuta, or now a citizen, I guess. It's a version of the alumni program. And she's going to drop us some knowledge. Just to remind you guys of the format here, we'll do like 10, 15 minutes on her deck, her presentation of her area of expertise. There is a question and answer little chat room that you can jump into if you have any questions that you don't want to forget. Feel free to jump in there, and maybe she'll even just answer those as she goes. Or the last 10 to 15 minutes that we have here, we'll just go straight into question and answer. So please get involved. Please think of things you might want to ask or learn about. This is supposed to be interactive after she finishes her short deck. And we'll go from there. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And I'll give it over to you, Jess.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the great introduction, Travis. Let me get my screen share going with you guys. And we should be good to go.
Bam.
Bam. All right. Let's get to presenting, shall we? There we go. Like you said, my name is Jessica. I am from Batuta, and basically why I'm dropping this knowledge to you guys is for the last 10 years, I've worked in development or marketing in some capacity, both in nonprofit sectors, the entertainment industry, or education. I work primarily as a designer, so I pitch mainly branding updates or changes to marketing campaigns and things like that. This presentation is geared a little bit more towards getting money for startups, but what I want you to be able to take away is what exactly is a pitch deck, how can you make one, and how can you use one to get what you want, essentially. Even if you aren't pitching to an investor for money, you're probably pitching something like why you should let your job go remote, or in an interview, or maybe yourself to someone at a bar. All of these things can be used in many different arenas. So let's get right on into it, shall we? What is a pitch deck? Jumping right into that first knowledge drop right off the bat. It is a great pitch deck gets investors excited about your idea and engages them in conversation about your business, hopefully leading to an investment. People want to discover an opportunity, not get pitched an idea. So you need to think like an investor. What's going to get them excited about being involved in your product or service? Platforms that pitch decks normally take are Keynote, Prezi, PowerPoint, and then at the end, make sure you PDF that all up for people so they have a record of what you've actually presented to them. Pitch decks constantly force you to articulate your business, product, or service in a concise manner, so they really help you understand your business better, basically. Key hint here, if you can't describe your product and what it does in 7 words, you need to go back to the drawing board. Make sure you have a soundbite ready. Basically, we're the X of Y, so we're the Google of frozen yogurt, whatever that means. You know, think of something that you can how you would describe your business to someone in very simple language, gets people interested, and gives them something to remember you by. So if you're comparing yourself to something like Google or something that they're familiar with, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. They're the Google of this. Basically, your setup is going to be about 10 to 11 slides with a few extra flavor slides thrown in there. But you want to start with your vision or elevator pitch. So that's 7-word, simple line, tagline. Followed by your roadmap to success, your opportunity in the market, the problem that you're hoping to solve, and the product and service that is going to do that. The revenue model, the market and growth strategy. Slide 6 and 7 are pretty much what your investors are really excited about. They want to know exactly where you are, what your plans are, and how they can help you, and what they're going to get in return. Jump into sort of who the key players of the team are, who are the people they will be most interested in learning are involved in this project, what they've done in the past, and potentially what they can bring to their own investment. Followed by the financials, competition, and then the investment ask. The investment ask is the biggest slide, and it's the one they're waiting for. They know why you're here. They're not here just to learn about a new product. They're here because they know that you're going to ask them for money. So make sure that that ask is very specific. To give you some ideas more or less about how these slides sort of play out, we're all familiar with Airbnb. So I wanted to jump into their pitch deck, which was their very first pitch deck, and used to raise $600,000 from Sequoia Capital and Y Ventures.
What year was this, Jessica?
Oh, what year? I don't remember actually. But it is their very first pitch deck. So it was used
10 years ago or...
Yeah, 10 or so years ago, essentially when they first started. So they started with their welcome slide, and their tagline is book room with locals rather than hotels. Very simple. It addresses their problem, which is they've decided was price, culture, and technology to do so. So you want to be able to use language that is accessible. Skip the jargon. No one is impressed that you understand fancy words and that is specific to your industry. You come off as an ass, and basically you want to keep things moving with a common language that's easy for them to buy into. You want them to empathize with the problem, not be figuring out vocabulary the whole time. I skipped ahead. I only pulled out a few just to show you what Airbnb ended up doing. They, showed their market validation. They showed them their business model, and then they showed them basically their financials and what they expect their revenue to be at the end of a year and how they plan on doing that. So all very clear, very simple, not a lot of flair to this at all. Extra things that they decided to add, and you can add as well, is exit strategy, partnerships, product shots, press, testimonials. But with these extra flavor shots, make sure that they are just as concise as the rest of your presentation. So with your product slides, they should summarize the core functionality of what the product does. Maybe not the entire product, but notice Airbnb has broken it down into 3 slides that basically shows how you can search, how you can review, and how you can book. Doesn't go into the nitty-gritty parts of like how you can go into and select all of your different filters or messaging potential hosts, things like that. Just shows them the very 1, 2, 3 steps to the success of this product. If you do add press, make sure that it provides validation and credibility, and thereby industry leaders that the investor will be interested in. And as far as testimonial goals, make sure that you're picking reviews that basically show that your users understand the core benefit of your product. Don't just pick user testimonials that are like, oh my gosh, this product was the best thing I've ever used in my entire life. That doesn't really give the investors any sort of reassurance that the user knew what they were doing or how they used it. It could just be fluff at that point. So basically, to make a successful pitch, know what you want coming into the presentation. Whether that's you want them to be an investor, whether you want them to join the team, whether you want this person to pick you up and go on a date, whether you're looking for a new job, whatever the case may be, understand that every pitch is an audition for leadership. Investors are interviewing you for the role of money manager. They basically want a plan told in a story-like format that they can remember, and they want to understand that you understand what they want. So put yourself in their shoes. Ask for a specific amount. You're not going to go to Sequoia Ventures and ask for a loan, investment of like $1,000, because you know that Sequoia has invested higher marks to other industries. Also make sure that what you're asking the investor for is something that they've invested in the past. If they're into travel and leisure and technology, maybe don't pitch them a restaurant. If you're going to pitch someone a restaurant, make sure that they have donated to restaurants before or are interested in that level of travel and leisure. Also make sure that your numbers are clear. They want to make sure that you know what you're doing, because if they're going to hand over their money to you, they want to know that you're already handling your money with the utmost attention to detail. And then just generally the light ones, tell it like a story. Make it relatable. Make sure it's more conversational. You should be able to pitch your idea in 5 seconds, 30 seconds, and then 5 minutes. Basically, that 5-second version is a concise single sentence that explains your idea, just like Airbnb's tagline. The 30-second version explains how you're going to achieve your idea, providing just enough interesting detail to help the audience get a clear understanding of what you are proposing. Brevity is the key to any success with pitch decks. So make sure that you're constantly updating, be short, skip bullet points, don't read from your presentation. Basically, the most interesting part of your presentation should be you. Basically, the most easy ways to lose investors is by not doing your research, telling your story from the wrong perspective and leaving your audience behind. Making sure that you understand who you're walking into the room with is going to get you farther than any pitch deck ever will. So make sure that you understand who's in the room. Do your research, just like you would if you're going to a job interview. See, what their past jobs have been. See what else they've invested in. See what the current CEO is doing, or the CFO, or whoever you're talking to. Make sure you understand where they're coming from. No real homework on this one, but I have included a bunch of resources. Basically, if you want to look at anyone's pitch deck, from the Airbnb slides that I shared with you to even Tinder, they are all on SlideBean or attached. There's a couple places where you can find just a wealth of a pitch deck library, essentially. There are also a number of articles written about this, including how to actually basically put together your pitch deck, just like I've broken down for you here. How money has been raised for startups using pitch decks, and how to improve your presentation, just some tips and tricks of the trade. If you're still nervous, kind of unsure about how to put together one, or even design-wise, really nervous about font choice or what icons, anything, there are pitch deck templates that are available to you. SlideBean does them. Improved Presentation does them as well. Obviously, there's going to be a minimal fee there. And I actually think Mint.com is starting to do a couple of templates for people as well, if they're interested. If you have any further questions, you can always contact me on Slack via email, Instagram, got my LinkedIn up there, and I should be more active on Twitter, but I'm not. But you can reach me there. I do get the notifications. So as far as pitch deck goes, your pitch should really only be between 5 and 10 minutes, and I hope I was just about that time. And other than that, I guess I'm going to open it up to questions now.
Awesome. It's not really a question, but the only comment we have in the question and answer box, it just says hashtag Shark Tank training, which I guess is that would have been
very true
for this, for this presentation. You can jump off screen share, Jess, and just go back to.
All right. Stop share. There we go.
Beautiful. So yeah, pop your questions into the question and answer box, or just feel free to jump off mute and do it that way. I got a question though. What's like your most successful, or like what's one pitch you gave at some point in your professional career that you're like still like, I nailed it that day and like something good came of it and you're like, it's like a proud memory?
Well, basically, I guess my most successful pitch, which isn't maybe the most exciting to other people, but to me it was, I was young in my career and was pitching to the president of the University of Arizona about how we could make the admissions process that much more exciting and interesting and easy for incoming potential students. And so it had everything to do from reworking our view book to the online platform to creating an interactive platform for potential students to come and learn more about the university. And it involved so many different layers, different platforms. Even everyone in my team were like, there's no way we're going to get approved on everything. And actually the president was really excited, and we got it all approved. And for the next year, we reworked the entire admissions process for the University of Arizona. And that was about 2009. So I was 22 or 23 at the time.
Awesome. Is this still a big part of your like current role? Do you give pitches?
So I do a couple of pitches here and there every so often. I am now freelance, so my pitches are a little bit more less formal and a little bit more presentation driven, where it has to do with I'm rebranding a couple of people and looking at logos or placement in markets and things like that, and kind of retooling things. So it's proposing more or less just changes in how they can more efficiently run or get better placement in the market. So it's a little bit more lax now, but earlier in my career, very much presentations all the time for changing marketing campaigns. And I did a lot of tour and marketing for people. So, and when I worked in music, and for that, it was a lot of presenting on where we should get these artists to play and what types of promotional tools should be used. So that was more or less the pitches I was running.
Cool.
Yeah.
Still not getting many questions from our audience here. I'll keep going. I have another question. Advice, like, say somebody's like kind of new to this whole world of giving pitches, and they, you know, got their pitch deck ready. They like did, you know, they did the work on the back end, but they're just like nervous to actually do the pitch. Do you have any advice for people to like shake off the nerves and just feel like extra confident going into that meeting?
Absolutely. My biggest tip for people is to not look at your slides the entire time. So I would say, get your pitch deck ready. You can obviously go through and, you know, run through them and look at them yourself, but maybe get some friends and family gathered, maybe talk to a couple of colleagues or people that are around, and just try to go through your slides in your head and talk to people. Think of your pitch as a conversation, less as a presentation. My whole thing was always, I would walk up to people and just be like, hi, my name is Jessica. Can I talk to you about an idea real quick? And it was always just really casual, and that's how you should approach it. And basically, I used to dance for a really long time. You practice how you perform. So make sure you're practicing with the same tone and the same, you know, rhythm that you want. And basically don't use your slides as a crutch. That'll trip you up every time. They're just meant to be back there for key points for your audience, not for you. You should know this inside and out. So I always say, practice presenting without your slides. And if you can, have someone run your slides for you in the back, so you're not worried about like making sure you're on time or anything like that, because then you'll look at it and you'll start reading and it messes with your mind.
For sure. Any questions from any of you guys that have tuned in this morning before we let Jessica get back to hanging out in her childhood bedroom? I love that that's where you currently are.
Right.
And I'll also say before we get out here, thanks for giving me the idea to make a pitch deck for my next date. Just, you know,
do it.
To start with, yeah. Reasons you should go on a date. Cool. Yeah. So if nothing else, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. These the slides from Jessica's deck and the video here will be archived and shared with everybody on the Knowledge Drop channel, #Knowledge Drop on Slack. And yeah, we'll keep these going every 2 weeks. Reach out to me on Slack if you would like to give a knowledge drop and you have something you would love to share with the whole remote nation. And cool. Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and have a lovely Wednesday. Ciao. Thanks again, Jess.
Ciao. Thank you.